this week's episode of 3 Minutes of Torah Wisdom and Wonder. This week's Parsha Chayei Sarah tells us about the death of Sarah Imenu, the great matriarch of the Jewish people, the mother of all of Klal Yisrael. And after her death, her husband Abraham realizes that it's time for the next generation to take over. And therefore, he needs to find a wife for his son Yitzchak, who would be the one who would carry on this monotheistic enterprise that was started by Abraham and Sarah. And so he turns to his trusted Eved Eliezer. Eliezer was his 2IC. Eliezer was in charge of operations of Abraham's significant empire and had been with Abraham and been a loyal, dedicated servant to Abraham for many decades. And he says to Eliezer, please go to the place of my birth, to a place called Aram Naharaim, and from there, from my family, find a wife for Yitzchak, because he understood that the Knaanim, where Abraham was, the Knaanim didn't have good character traits. They were not kind. And the next matriarch of the Jewish people would have to have the qualities compassion and kindness that Sarah had, and they were necessary for the future of the building of the Jewish people. And so Eliezer agrees on this new mission, a very daunting task, and Abraham makes him swear that he will get a wife from the place of his birth, from Aram Naharaim, and not from the Knaanim. The question is, why did Abraham ask Eliezer to swear? An oath in those days was something that was very significant because it was in the name of God, and people took that very seriously. Today, people don't take anything seriously. The word of an individual is not worth much in our modern world, unfortunately. But in those days, an oath made was a tremendous commitment that a person would deliver upon. So why was it necessary? Eliezer had proved himself as a loyal servant to Abraham. He had been with him for so long. He had been so dedicated to his service of Abraham. The Shem Mishmuel asks that question and brings a great answer. And he says, because very often within every human being, there's latent potential. And unless we pushed, unless we forced, unless we pressed, we don't bring out that potential. And we take the path of least resistance. That is human nature. Human nature is that we're going to try and take the easiest path where we don't have to exert ourselves unless we're forced to do so. Abraham knew that. And upon making Eliezer swear, he showed him that this was one mission he couldn't fail, that failure wasn't an option, that he had to push himself to the limit, the ultimate of his potential in order to fulfill this mission. And it's such a great lesson for all of us in our lives, that we shouldn't sell ourselves short, and that we should make sure that we bring out that incredible potential we all have and reach the greatness that we are able to, and not take the path of least resistance, which will leave us not fulfilling our great, tremendous potential. So please God, we should all exert ourselves spiritually and bring out our souls and our great spiritual potential and fulfill our mission that God set us to do in this world. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe.